We're now joined via Zoom by political analyst Dr. John Molepo. Dr. Molepo, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. So this particular conference emerged with a top 5 leadership consisting of a mixed bag of leaders from both slates, belonging to Lesufi and Maile. What do we make of that, considering other divisive conferences or divisive conferences that we've been witnessing recently?
Well, Unati, good afternoon to your listeners. Well, this conference was hotly contested. I'm happy because it was not a casino arrangement wherein a winner takes all. We've seen, winners coming from both factions. But the conference went very well. I must say that we have seen women who are in the leadership, which amongst many provincial conferences we have never seen a number of women in the leadership. And also, what is worrisome is the youth, the representation of young people in this top 5. I've never seen a young person. To me, it's a concern because it's a concern because I believe in the investment of young people. And again, what is interesting, and I think it's a question that I've been posing all over, that why are we having all MEC contesting each other? What is it that it interests them? What is it that they want? Why are we also recycling leadership? Why can't we go out and get another leadership out there? But it's something that is interesting that we have seen in this particular ANC provincial conference. But also, remember, this conference comes at a time when the ANC is facing a decline in terms of their electorate. So it's something that concerns the leadership of the ANC moving into 2024.
In fact, I was going to say that, Lesufi has a large task ahead of him, to ensuring the ANC retains leadership in the province, but also, make sure that they have those numbers go up, but also strengthening unity within the party.
Well, that is a bigger challenge, and I'm sure with the case of quarantine votes, we are likely to see a serious problematic issues there in Gauteng. Because what if the incoming all PEC members, they say that let us count those particular votes? It's going to be problematic because your secretary, your deputy secretary, and your treasurer are likely, if possibly, if they allow quarantine votes, they might find difficulties. So, but I think the ANC in the province are facing a serious challenge to 2024 because they have to deal with their internal processes, the factions within their province, and also uniting them again, and also dealing with the masses out in the society, making sure they come and vote for the ANC and appeal to the broader society to vote for the ANC. It's something that Panyaza Lesufi collectively with his leadership, they must ensure that going forward they must be able to appeal to the masses out there, because in the previous election they performed below 50%. So that is a serious concern. As much as Lesufi could have won this particular ANC provincial conference, what is matters is the governance power, whether they will have this particular governance power if only they can win 2024, and that requires hard work from Panyaza together with his collective.
Let's look at the top 5 and what that symbolizes in as far as the job and the task that lies ahead, particularly for Lesufi. We know that, of course, Tembinkosi TK Nziza has been elected, as secretary. And of course, which means that he might be sitting, right next to Panyaza Lesufi at the National Executive Committee. What does that then signify in terms of, how well established this unity will ultimately, be in order to take the ANC to the next level, particularly in this province?
Well, we are yet to see how they're going to work, but like we've seen how Lebohang Maile responded to say that they are behind the leadership and so on. So I'm thinking that because they're coming from different factions, we might likely to see a cooperation, because with power, it changes within a second. So I'm thinking that they can realign for the betterment of the people of Gauteng, particularly their ANC comrades. So it's something that going forward they need to work on, and also consolidating all regions in ensuring that they work together. But I know for a fact that some people are going to fight amongst themselves, and that by its own is cripple the ANC in power.
And what is it, we know that, of course, as the General Secretary said, that this went off without any particular, problems and everything was fine. But we know, of course, there are problems, within this province, particularly as you look at those quarantined votes, that are significant and they come from 5 branches. What does this, mean for the province then going forward, particularly as you look at, infighting and any possible forms of, establishing a party that is unified and one that takes the renewal policy forward?
Well, like I said, it's going to be challenging for the this PEC because of, remember that the NEC at some point recommended that the quarantine vote be dealt by the PEC. So this coming week, we are likely to see serious lobbying from those who want to serve as additional members. Once they have additional members, then what if those who serve in the additional members were in the faction of Panyaza or Maile? We're likely to see a different change in terms of the leadership, particularly those whose votes were in the margin of 1, margin of less than 10, because there's still 19 quarantine votes, unless the PCE decide otherwise. But I will recommend to the PEC of the ANC to take everything it is, because once they go back and revisit the question of quarantine votes, we are likely to see some chaos that will deepen some faction, and that will create the ANC in the province not to be united.
Let's move away from the ANC in Gauteng just for a little bit and just talk about the utterances made by former President Thabo Mbeki just today, saying that the ANC has to introspect following the release of the final state capture report. Just his words, to the ANC. I mean, where does it even begin, particularly when you look at, what is coming ahead for them in terms of that policy conference and, of course, the elective conference in December?
Well, that is important. The ANC need to go back and reflect, look at what is it wrong that they've been doing wrong, and what is it that it can be changed. Well, the question of corruption, the question of capacity of their employees, and so on. So there are a lot of issues that the ANC need to reflect on. But much bigger problems are the question of economic freedom, the questions of land, and many important issues that they need to reflect on. Because the ANC is serves on the behest of the people or the society at large. So it's important for ANC, whenever they go to the conference, they address societal challenges. So Thabo Mbeki was correct to say that the ANC leaders, and together with its members, let them go back to the drawing board and look where they have wronged and where they can improve in order to change and improve the lives of ordinary South Africans in South Africa. And remember, society has been patient with the ANC more than 28 years now. They've been patient. It's high time. We are likely to a serious damage coming into the 2024 election.
Fantastic. Dr. John Molepo, political analyst, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.